Hello, everybody. Welcome back or welcome to the Sound Mind Strategy Podcast. This is your host, Evan, and I am back with my lovely wife, Anina. She's feeling good and sounding much better.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is episode number 32. We're doing a fun little holiday Q&A session,
Yes.
so just really excited to answer a lot of these questions. We had a lot of really good questions brought to us, so we're really excited to dive into those and sort those out. So she knows most of them. There's a few that she doesn't know, so we're going to see how kind of off the cuff answers she's got for us. So let's just dive right into it with that. Here we go. All right, how is everybody doing? We got Christmas coming rapidly. I hope you are done with your Christmas shopping.
We just finished ours today, so
yeah.
at least we think we're done.
I hope we're done.
Yeah, me too.
I think I'm done.
I think I'm done too. Should be a good deal.
All right.
Should be done and done.
So let's catch up on a couple housekeeping things. Let's get everyone up to speed. You missed last week. You left me all alone.
I know, but you did a good job.
I think I did okay. I don't know.
You did good.
It was definitely a lot harder than I thought. Like having because we're used to just like this back and forth conversation.
Right.
And I'm like, actually, this for everyone who's listening, I had to do a couple takes on that because like I had everything done in like 10 minutes. I'm like, wait a minute.
Like,
I must have talked really, really fast or skipped some stuff. So I'm going to redo that one. But yeah, it was fun.
Oh, gosh. That is fun. I'm glad you just stepped right into that and gave it a shot.
Yeah. And like I'm using this new, this really cool kind of like podcasting thing. It's like the Rode Podcaster Pro. And I was using it for a couple weeks, actually a few weeks. And then I was just having so much trouble with it. Everyone's like, all the reviews were like, this thing's so awesome. It makes podcasting a piece of cake. And I'm like, this is a nightmare. I don't know. So I finally sat down and watched a few more things like how to properly use it. I can attest.
Now you got it. Yeah.
It is nice. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. So what's going on? How are the baby showers? How are you feeling? Like we're almost there.
Whew, we're almost there. You're right. Today is week 34, and there's exactly 34 days left until baby is due. Kind of crazy. But I've been...
is that real?
30, I know.
34 days.
Does not seem real at all. But according to my baby books, everything that I'm experiencing is pretty normal right now. I feel like
what you got?
A couple well, I know we're still trying to like tease out if it really is Braxton Hicks or not, but...
I would imagine so. I mean, kind of...
At that time period now where it can happen. Yeah. So yeah, I think a little bit of that perhaps. And then just your normal stuff, like some fatigue here and there, have a little sciatic, pain, but nothing
shooting down the back of the leg kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. But nothing too major, but I'd say I'm feeling really good.
I mean, you went on a jog this morning. Okay.
Yeah, we did a 3-mile jog this morning.
I know some people like hear us say, like Anina's still running. Like we're using running very lightly, very loosely.
Yes.
We do a nice little
trot
walk.
Prego trot, we call it.
It's fun. We get out. Like we did a 5K today. So it's a lot of shuffle and then some walking and some shuffling. But you're doing great. I mean, like, I don't know. You're 8 months pregnant. So I'm pretty impressed.
It's been good. And then I got on Zwift yesterday and jumped in on like a race for a minute. I mean, I did like a whole 30 minutes and it was pretty fun.
Yeah. I came in there and you were like, I had to tell baby, sorry, I had to do one little dig.
Yeah. I was like, sorry, baby, hang on 1 second. And mom's got a quick dig to get in.
That was funny.
And then we can relax.
Yeah. So according to my baby book, the dad book, it says baby's about 5 pounds, size of a cantaloupe. So definitely.
I'd say it's pretty accurate in the way it feels in there.
Feels like a cantaloupe in there. And then what's else? Okay. Fingernails. Lungs are in the final week of development. If it's a boy, it is a boy. Testicles have fully descended. Excellent.
Oh, yay.
And then here we go. Mom stats. Mom's uterus is taking up significant room and causing discomfort. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Causing discomfort. She's tired and urinating a lot.
Yes and yes.
All right. Let's see here. Anxiety. Just related to the whole idea of childbirth.
When we did that 8-hour birthing class, that kind of helped put some anxiety at ease. It still does feel like, what the heck? I don't know what to expect, but it did simmer down my anxiety a little bit, just kind of watching those videos and knowing how long it's can possibly take the whole birthing process.
Because granted, the only thing that I had to go off of with childbirth and labor was like movies, right? And it's just like panic, mad dash, and it's just all crazy.
Next thing you know, they pop the baby out.
Yeah, this was very good and bad because I definitely saw some things that can not be unseen.
Right.
But overall, it was a very helpful and useful class, and I highly recommend it to soon to be or going to be new parents. Because it did set me at ease too. It's just like, relax.
Right.
It is a longer process than what, I don't know. Maybe everyone else understands like it is a longer process, but in my mind it was like, oh my gosh, get to the hospital. It's crazy.
The baby's here.
Yeah. But this was like, okay, chill out. Just be smart, be safe.
Yes.
Take your time. Obviously not too much time, but yeah. And I felt really good about that. I felt really good about going. It made us, a little closer on some things too, and like develop a plan and let you try some different laboring positions, I guess.
That was kind of nice to be able to do that.
Things that you can use. So it was like, let me think of it, the whole thing in a broader mindset. So I thought that was really cool. Like, oh yeah, you can bring some of these things in there that really help mom labor through this process. Some of the things that I thought were pretty cool, like they had like the big, almost like a big exercise ball, and then they had like one that was
shaped like a peanut
shaped, and then there was some like stool looking things that kind of help pelvis get into a good position. They had some like towel things to kind of help like move and shape your pelvis and uterus, like all that, and just a lot of stuff. That's really cool. And
the best part was the massages, like they showed that Evan can do for me.
Yeah, exactly. Help let me know what I can do to actually help my wife go through this. And like, I don't want to just stand there and watch her be in agony and go through this. There's things that I can actually do to be helpful, right?
Yeah. And even like too about thinking about getting a playlist together of music, because they have like a feature in the room where you can plug your phone in.
A little stereo thing, like plug your auxiliary cord into. And
it's kind of nice. Yeah.
Come prepared with your playlist.
I know. I got to figure that out still. Who knows what I'm going to want.
And there's things that you can do, like the hospital that we're going to, they have a few. They don't, not all of them. They only had a few of the birthing rooms had like a kind of
big tub.
Yeah. So you can use water. Now they're not to deliver in, but you can use them to kind of like help mom along the process and relax and ease some of the tension and pain and stuff. So I thought that was awesome. Yeah, really cool. You had baby showers. Those were good.
Those were good. The last one here in St. Louis was
our Snowmageddon.
Our Snowmageddon. Yeah, it just snowed and snowed and snowed.
It's a typical snow, but over the last few years, anytime that we get snow, it's a pandemonium, right?
Yeah, but there was a lot. So
it was a decent amount. And of course, it was the one day we didn't want, because we wanted people to come travel.
I know. So that was hard, but I totally understood. Like, a lot of people had to cancel because of the weather, and it did get kind of slick out. It did get slick out there. So, but it was still a really great time. So
yeah, and you had a few friends that just braved the weather.
Yeah, able to make it out there. So it was nice. So now it's just figuring out what other items we need for baby.
Yeah, there was some items that from our registry. Now, granted, we did put some bigger items on the registry we weren't like thinking we were going to get. They were also for us as a mental remembering like to go back to. And actually it worked out really good because on, at least from Bye Bye Baby, the things that weren't on there, they send you and you can get, if you purchase it, granted, I think you have to buy all of it. You only get it the one time. Yeah, but you get an extra discount. So I thought that was cool.
That was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. We're still banging our head against the wall on the car seat and stroller situation. We thought we had it narrowed down to 1 or 2 that we really liked, and then some new players in the game.
I know. It's we're getting there.
Yeah, I was going to say put it out to all the moms, but Anina's like, you can't leave out the dads. There's some dads that are experiencing this.
Yes.
So, all you people out there who have experience in car seat stroller world, and if you want to chime in and let us know your go-to, the pros, cons, anything, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes,
go ahead and throw them in the mix and we'll sort it out. So I appreciate that. Another really interesting thing, Cooper passed his test. His
therapy test, our dog, Cooper.
He is certified, so very cool. He's just got to knock out his
8 more visits.
His visits, supervised visits, and he's ready to go. So pretty cool.
Coming to a nursing home near you.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, schools, nursing homes.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get him in the schools and all that stuff as well. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that is exciting.
All right, you ready to dive into some questions?
Yeah, and our little Q&A.
All right, I will read them. We can both take turns answering and kind of bounce off of each other. So
that sounds good.
This is a cool one. How would you advise a regular person? Now, anyone, I'm thinking, not regular, person wanting to make some changes gradually, eating and exercising. So like beginning to do that. So they're new to it. You want to take it?
Yeah, I was gonna say the first thing that comes to mind for me is just to just take it slow. When you are trying to make food and exercise changes, it's a lot to take on. And so almost just setting really small action steps, I think, can be really helpful to kind of get you into a routine.
Yeah.
And not to overwhelm yourself, but maybe this week I'm gonna, add 20 squats in the day. And then the next week I'm going to add 5 more or whatever, but just to slowly pace yourself and bringing it into fruition. Cause I think a lot of us, and myself included, can be like, yes, I'm going to change how I eat and start working out. And you kind of bite off more than you can handle. And then,
right.
Yeah. And then it's kind of sets you backwards and you're not really getting that progression you want. But I will say too, pacing yourself for me is really hard because I just want to go all in.
Yeah. I very much agree with you in a lot of that. I would only add maybe one thing, depending on how well you know yourself and what you need, maybe even getting the advice and help from a coach. Or if feel like you have it covered and you want to just tackle it yourself until maybe you get stuck and then seek some guidance, that would be one thing. I was having a conversation actually the other day with one of my athletes, and he said that he was very happy with, he's like, I thought I would be hurting a lot more and doing a lot more. And I was like, well, we can't really go 100% every day. That's generally the guidelines of someone who's doesn't know what they're doing, or, trying to coach themselves. They just have no idea. So they dive in 100% every day.
Right.
And they're smashed and they just can't do it and they're fatigued and they quit. Right.
Yes.
So it's just that nice, steady progression. And some days we are going to go a little deeper and a little harder. And then we also rest and recover and let those adaptations take place. So bringing that into this question, yes, very small bite-sized things. Have a very good idea of where you want to be and allow time to get there. I think that's one of the best things. If I want to make big changes in my diet or my eating nutrition or whatever it is, let's just work on one day. Or even if that's too much to tackle, how about we do one meal? And then, okay, that went really well. Why don't I try that again in a couple of days? I'll give me a day or two to pick a meal I want to make and throw it in there. So
yeah, and with that too, I think even just kind of asking yourself, these are some questions that I'll have people do, why do I want this goal? Like, what is the outcome you're wanting to get from this? Like, why do I want to eat differently? Why do I want to start working out? And then having you list the benefits of it. And then also like asking yourself, what is the pain of me not achieving this goal?
So something like this, if I do that, the pain of me, and this is someone brand new who's wanting to add exercise and diet changes. Mm-hmm. So the pain of me is basically more of where I'm at. I'm already at a tipping point to ask this question. So I'm probably not feeling good. I'm maybe heavier than what I think I should be. Mm-hmm. I'm not feeling good. I'm not sleeping good. I have some pain. And I'm thinking that some lifestyle changes, exercise, nutrition can help remedy some of that, ease some of that tension. So, so the pain of that is staying. So if I look at every meal and every opportunity to do even a small workout is a step in the right direction. So then if I go back and do status quo again, it's not really a way to get on ourselves. It's just, okay, that's where I was. So it's one step of, I did push-ups today, or, I did 5 minutes of walking steps. It doesn't have to be a lot, like give credit to intention, right? So like purpose and intention of like putting the shoes on, walking around the block, and then, you know what, I'm going to do an extra bit, or I'm going to walk those stairs a couple times, and, small things like, grabbing an apple instead of a pastry, small things.
Just making those small steps. Yeah. And like you said, just being like very acutely aware of what you're doing, not just go on autopilot, but just be aware of like the decisions and choices that you are making. And I know like some other things that sometimes I'll have people like ask themselves and kind of go through is, asking themselves like, in order to achieve this goal, I will start doing X, Y, Z. In order to achieve this goal, I will stop doing X, Y, and Z. So some things you want to start, things you want to stop. And then also we just know the power of visualizing yourself, eating healthier. Even around the holidays, if this is something you're trying to start working on, it's like visualizing yourself going up there to get like the stuff that is green, like the healthier food choice.
Put that on your plates first, and then like understand that you're not going to blow the entire diet or the entire lifestyle change or choice or decision to change. Don't put it off till January 1. Do it today. And it's okay in that Christmas dinner if you eat too much. Mm-hmm. Like you were going to do that anyway with the idea of like, well, I'll just start January 1. Just start now. And that's one meal that you quote unquote mess up. It's not even a mess up. It's just, we're not putting the restraints on it. We're going to eat a good breakfast, or have a really light breakfast, knowing that that's probably going to happen later that day. And then do a nice, like, you don't have to like go crazy and exercise it away. Just be intentional. Maybe go on a walk that morning, have a light breakfast and plan for it, and relax, enjoy it, be thoughtful.
Yeah. And
maybe, like Anina said, maybe load up on, maybe get the green stuff and the healthy stuff first.
Get full on that. Full. Yes.
And then, have a couple treats. Doesn't matter.
And also, like, I know just from back in the day, I would do this to myself where it's like almost like sabotage myself when I was doing something new.
Yes.
And then it was like, oh, well, you already screwed it up. You might as well just go full tilt in. And it's like, no, that's not fair to do to yourself. It's like, you didn't totally screw it up. You just, it doesn't mean just now let everything go because.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where I was getting at, is just like, don't wait, don't put it off thinking to allow for a mess up. And it's the same thing as, if you are thoughtful about it and you're going to have one meal, think in the scheme of how many meals I eat in a week, a month, and a year. If we tally in and like all the birthdays and the holidays, what does that equal? 10 meals of like, versus however many that you have the opportunity to make good, healthy, proper decisions. It's you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. And yeah, and I also think like this just kind of made me think about this too, of like bringing stuff out to your awareness, almost like having like nice, fresh greens in your fridge. Kind of maybe displaying them differently. So it's like in there, it's not just in the crisper, but like we've seen it where people put like their greens, their stalks of like their kale in a nice mason jar. So then it's right there,
right
up
when
front,
you open the door, yeah.
Right, and then in your little fruit basket, having really fresh fruits in there, like ones that look appealing to you. And if you're trying to start doing weights, like maybe move the weights from the basement to the living room because you're going to see them there because maybe you're in that room more.
Yeah.
Just kind of bring it.
Like, don't not watch your favorite show, that rerun or whatever that you always watch. Like, watch it, but maybe just do some light exercise where you can still kind of pay attention, but you're just like moving, or move through the commercials. Or if you're streaming and there are no commercials, just maybe set a timer or something. Be creative.
Be creative.
Whatever works for you. But like, those are some options that we've done. Just be active, be moving. So
yeah.
Okay, moving on. Number 2. What do we got here? What are some tips for not allowing negative people to rent space in your head/heart without burning a bridge? Ooh, that's a toughie.
Ooh, the first thing that came to me on that is like that book Boundaries.
Ooh, yeah.
By Gary Townsend.
Yep.
And I know we've talked about boundaries before on this podcast, but I've almost like in my head, and I kind of draw it out as I'm thinking of it. It's like, here's your house, here's your yard with the fence, and you get to decide who you let open and close that fence, basically. So like, that's your boundary. Like if someone were to walk in your fenced in yard, you'd be like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, who are you? What authority do you have to be here, kind of thing. So I almost look at it like that, like just not giving them the ability to trample or trespass on your property, basically.
Well, yeah, and this is something this is like a perfect time to talk about that, right? Like, Christmas is literally days away.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, like, when you think of it again, like kind of in our intro, like talking about the baby thing, like there's this preconceived idea of the way it's portrayed in everything that we watch, listen, read, whatever. Holiday times and family times are this wonderful, blissful time. And yes, it could be or should be, but there's generally the people that you want to see the absolute least. For some reason, it kind of also falls in that time. It can. It doesn't always, but like, or because these are the people that you know the most, or they know you the most. And you kind of, there's that space that it hurts the most from something, when something negative happens from someone that would be at that table, right? Yes. It hurts the absolute most. If a stranger were to do it, easy to write it off. When someone at that Christmas table does it, it hurts because there should be love and joy and peace instead of strife.
Yeah.
So how do we do it? Or how do I do it? Anina, kind of what you said with the boundaries was really, really good. And then just having a plan, like knowing that we're going to have to interact, being very thoughtful and intentional about how I see this playing out. Like, we've had this conversation and it's going to be, or like, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to lead with love. I'm going to lead with kindness. And if it goes beyond that, I can withdraw.
Yeah.
Positively, without strife and without, we can, if you have someone, it wouldn't always be this situation, but at least in our situation, we can come in as a team and just say, I can shoot you a text. We could have like a safe word or a look or whatever, a thing I do if I pull on my ear, whatever. You just establish it. We have our own little code, and just like, come bail me out. Or if I can't find a reason to walk away, come pull me away, call me or something, like find a way to bail out without strife, without, really creating more tension and more hostility. So you can just be polite, be kind, and then understand that they only get what you give them. So if you don't give them a lot of space to do that, and burning bridges, like, I wouldn't recommend that because it takes a long time to rebuild them. So a lot of times, if you can just have that, depending on the person, I think, like, sometimes if they're open to conversation and open to those healing conversations and really hashing things out and getting to the root of it, it's worth doing. At the Christmas table, definitely not a proper place for that. but I would not throw gasoline and match on the bridge unless you want it to be a permanent destructive thing.
Right. And sometimes you have to protect yourself, right? It's like
sometimes that is needed.
Yeah.
But most of the time I would not recommend that.
But I do like your point about, to your point about just having it like a thought out plan, when you are going to be around somebody that could, can kind of take up mental real estate. And we can't always plan for everything, but I think just kind of having like a script or just kind of knowing visualizing how you want to handle it can be really helpful, because we know that the mind doesn't know the difference from it really happening.
Yeah.
Authentically happening and happening in your head, so if you kind of can role play how you want it to turn out. And then also I think just being gentle on yourself and understanding that it's not going to happen day one. It's almost like I look at it like you have that bullseye dartboard, and every time you try, you're getting closer to that bullseye, so you just keep throwing those darts at it and trying different things and seeing what sticks and what doesn't,
right.
And just noticing you are trying to make a difference.
Give yourself a lot of credit as well, in terms of how much space and power you have in a conversation or in a setting. If you come in very confident, head up, shoulders, up, you walk in confident and own your space,
right.
You will be respected a little bit more in that. So again, if it's not something you want to engage in, give yourself the power and the freedom and the space to just say, I'm walking, and just walk away. Like, you don't even have to explain yourself. You don't have to engage in it. You can just walk away, engage in conversation with people that you want to engage with.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. And you have the power, like you said. So if you need to, okay, I'm done with this conversation, I'm hanging up now, then you can do that, I think that's important like that. Too, to realize you have the control too.
Okay, next one. This one, I think this is going to be a hard one.
Oh gosh. Okay. Let's hear it.
And I'm just going to come out with it. I'm just going to say okay. It, and you're going to just we're going to get something real from you. Okay. How do you deal with the guilt of fart blaming?
Oh my God.
It's a question. I didn't, not mine.
Oh God.
Not mine. Just reading. How do you deal with the guilt of fart blaming?
Oh my gosh. So if you're like farted and you try to blame it on the dog or the baby?
I mean, you have a dog, you're soon to have a baby. I'm not saying anyone in this house does this, but how do you, you hypothetically deal with the guilt of fart blaming?
I honestly don't have any guilt about it.
Wow, that's stone cold.
I don't have any guilt.
I mean, you just blame. Are you saying you do this?
Maybe. It is okay to blame it on the dog or Grandma. A baby or somebody just walked by. Did you smell that?
Grandma sleeping.
Exactly. The only problem is when, you're the only one there and there's no one else to blame on. But I honestly have never felt guilty about doing that.
You're stone cold. She has no feelings.
Yeah, I don't feel the guilt. Do you feel the guilt?
I've never done it.
Oh, shush.
I've never even farted. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I don't think I've never, maybe I have.
You have blamed it. Oh my gosh.
I just
you
own
always
it.
blame it on Cooper.
I own it. If I let it, I own it. I'm proud of anything that I create.
Negative. Cooper gets the brunt of all those toots.
If Cooper's around, it's
or there's a flock of ducks behind me or something.
All those barking spiders.
So to ever ask that question, I'm sorry, there's no guilt here.
And I've never done it. So yeah, sorry. We would love to be able to dive into that a little deeper. Yeah. But Nina has no heart and I just don't do it. So. Okay, next question. What's the best way to set short-term goals? I think we kind of touched on this on the first one.
Yeah.
But really the best way to set short-term, I think the key there, let's focus on short-term, is have a plan and understand where you want it to get you. Because I think as a short-term goal, it should really be a lead up into a long-term. So for me, when I think of SMART goals, short-term is not the goal. Long-term is goal, right? That's when I'm writing it out. Like, what do I want to do? That's long term, and then short term is a part of that. So that would to me be a process goal. So how do I make that? So it should really be a proper step in line to get me to long term goal. So one, be very realistic about where I am, my resources. So if that's time, money, energy, knowledge, all these things, like depending on where it is, like if it's eating better, saving money, quitting my job, starting a new job, exercising, anything. Yeah. So understand what you have available to you in all those aspects. So in a short-term goal, I think it should be, just like I said, a part of the greater picture. So
yeah, I like that. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And also just thinking about like, what is a short-term goal to you? Is that 3 months? Yeah. Is that a week? Is that Perfect 2 weeks?
Time. It does also, like every long-term goal needs a timestamp. I agree. I think a short-term goal also needs a specific timestamp.
It does. It needs a specific timestamp. And I think, again, just figuring out how your brain works. Like for me, if I'm going to do that for a short-term goal, I'm going to write it out. What do I need to do to make it happen?
Look at it, right?
Exactly. Look at it. Put it up somewhere where I'm going to see it every single day, so it's in my face all the time. And I think just start it. Like I was reading this book before, and it made a lot of sense. Like this person was wanting their goal was to start. Their short-term goal was to start flossing their teeth every day. And so,
piece of cake.
Yeah, right? I mean, to me, it's like, oh, yeah, that's easy. But what they were doing is that they would just set the floss out in the bathroom so they would see it every day. And then this person just started flossing 2 teeth at a time. Yeah. And then
I would have a hard time stopping.
Me too.
And maybe they did, but like I only had to meet that requirement, whether I did the whole bottom row or all of them. The goal was only 2.
Exactly. And that was a short-term goal. And then that person, for reading this book, now they are flossing all their teeth and their dentist is very happy with them. But it was just kind of showing how they had to get started. And this person, I think, even said too, to setting the floss out on the on the bathroom counter wasn't totally working. So what they started doing then, after they realized that didn't work, kind of just tapping into like being able to make adjustments and changes, was they would actually get the piece of floss out and like tape it on their bathroom mirror.
Okay.
I know. I'm like, this person really did not want to floss their teeth.
Yeah, that's, wow.
Seems like a lot of work, but.
It was more work than just like doing it.
Exactly.
But no, I've heard the same thing with like wanting to start running. So putting your shoes on, whether you even make it out the front door, right?
Right.
Put the actual shoes on that you would run in on. Whether you make it to the door or not, that's process goal. And then, okay, let's get out the door. All you have to do is get out the door, close the door, and then you walk right back in. That's short term. Now, granted, we are breaking this down into like the very granular, and it doesn't have to be like if you know yourself and you're fine, like make them proper. That's the whole point. Understand what part of the process and how granular you need to break it down for you and your actual goal, because I think a short term goal should be a part of a bigger goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It kind of gets you going in that direction you want to go, and then make it a little bit more long term.
I think the big thing is it needs to be practical in terms of the resources you have. Also have a timestamp. And another thing that we did not touch on that I think is huge in the terms of goals that is often overlooked is accountability. So if that's just telling a spouse, a friend, a relative, a neighbor,
social media, whatever you got to do.
Social media, a coach, whatever works for you, that is huge. Like, depending on what your goal is, like you think about, well, I don't want to pay a coach or a personal trainer if it's exercise or whatever. Like, think about the benefit or what you would feel and how you would feel or what you would make if it's a financial thing or job thing. Like, it's an investment into that you.
Yes.
The future you.
The future you that you want. Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point, too, of making sure it's a process and not an outcome. Like, because I've heard some people say, well, I want to lose, and I've done this in the past before, too. I want to lose 5 pounds. And it's okay, that's your outcome, but what are the steps to get you there? right? So it's like that process to get you there. So really just like you mentioned, just really breaking it down. I think that's key.
And that's the part where we decide what's working, what's not working, having flexibility. Like, okay, in my mind, to lose 5 pounds, I need to, 1, stand on the scale every day to have something to look at, see what's working. And then 2, I think I need to work out. I need to change my diet. Okay. And how much, what does that look like?
Yeah.
So those are all parts of the short-term goals, and writing them out, being very specific. I think specificity is a huge part of goal setting.
And it can feel a little like so labored sometimes. I have to think through all that.
Oh yeah.
But I promise you, it will actually help make the difference. And if you've, been anything like myself, I've set a goal out and not reached it. And it's like, when I look back, it's like, well, because you didn't even get specific with yourself. It was way too broad, and you didn't have like a clear, kind of path to follow to get you there. So yeah, great question though. These are some good questions.
Yeah, this has been really good. Okay. So I guess people do know that we're vegan. So we did get one vegan question. How do you handle Christmas, or they said Christmas, but maybe any group setting, as a guest to a meal like that? So how do you handle a Christmas dinner as a vegan and as a guest? So you're not hosting, but you're going.
I think the easiest thing, at least what you and I do, is make something to bring or pick up something to bring that's vegan. So kind of just having a couple little items there that you can share with everybody, but you're not going to be famished by the end of the night because all you brought were vegan cookies and now you have no sustenance of anything else. So I just say bring your own stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple things that we've done. If we think that we're going to be fed or not fed, we don't come with any expectation of what, they didn't feed me properly, that's on us. We're the ones with the restrictions, the requirements, the whatever. Granted, we do feel like it's the best and healthiest choices. That's kind of why we're there. But I mean, to digress from that, 1, plan ahead, maybe eat a little bit beforehand. Don't come starving. And this is also another time to kind of shine and show off how excellent vegan meals
can
be.
Taste, right?
So this is the ones that you kind of want to splurge. They don't have to be. Maybe don't bring your absolute healthiest dish. Bring something that's
vegan
got some
junk food stuff.
Yeah, bring some. Bring some treats, and then bring a good dish. I would say a big shareable dish, something that you can. If there is absolutely nothing else, that you can eat a couple portions of that and probably fill you up.
Yeah.
So that's a good option. And then this is time to show off how wonderful things can actually taste.
Yeah.
Without animal product in it. So.
Yeah,
I think that's a good one. And if depending, just let someone know, depending on your relationship with them. Obviously, Christmas, hopefully you would know.
Yeah, and I will say I feel very blessed in that, it feels like a lot of our family and friends actually think about that for us.
Huge, yeah.
Which is so nice. I mean, wonderful. Not that everybody has that, but yeah, it does seem nice. It was crazy at a work Thanksgiving party. Everyone, after we looked at everything we had, we were like, oh my gosh, everything was vegan here.
Yeah. And
everyone was like, this is so good.
And the cool thing is, I think, or not, the best thing for me is in a situation like that, especially when you come with no expectation of how much is going to be, allowed to be eaten, and then it turns out that you have a lot of options or even a few. It's just it makes it so much more satisfying and rewarding, and you're so much more thankful and grateful for people taking time to think about you. So
you do. It's really cool.
And then if there is nothing, you're prepared.
Exactly.
So yeah, I
that's
think
how we've dealt with it.
The biggest thing is just I don't go super hungry, and if I am, for whatever reason, I also trust that I can make it. I'm not going to starve to death.
Yes, so, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So that was that one. I think that's kind of touched on that. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the craziest or most memorable Christmas story / gift that that you have to share? So it could be a crazy gift, memorable gift, story.
The one I just remember that comes to mind is when we were younger, like young kids, living in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, and we were going to visit family that were like an hour plus away. And I just remember my dad, it just shows you his persistence on things. Like the window, like kept, the driver's side window was not working properly. So instead of just like leaving it the way it was, like cracked and not going all the way.
Oh, you mean it wouldn't roll back up?
It wouldn't roll back up.
Okay.
Yeah. So he kept, instead of just like leaving it like that, he kept trying to roll it down
having
more.
Like most of the way up. Okay. Just a little crack.
Yeah, exactly. So he kept trying to like fiddle with it while he's driving. Like, come on, like, this thing's got to work so I can go all the way back up. And it was not working. So lo and behold, we drove like a whole hour plus with the window down. We were all freezing. Like, what are you doing, Dad? Like, because it just broke. It would never go back up.
He rolled it all the way down thinking it would like magically reset and roll back up.
And then roll back up. Right. And it totally, it was horrible. Like, we got to my grandparents' house and all we did was just cry and just like,
How old were you?
Like 20. No,
yeah, it was last year.
It was last year, No, golly, probably like 10.
Okay, so there was all three of you old enough to moan and
groan about it. Yeah, we were just like, Dad, why would you do that? We were frozen back there. And yeah, so I remember that because we never let him live that one down. We were just like, you should have just left it cracked and just let it be,
that is funny.
Yeah, but what about you?
I don't know if this is definitely not crazy, but like one of the most memorable Christmases that we had growing up, we never had a ton. My parents worked really hard, and but so I don't remember how old we were. Probably that same age, 8 to 10, maybe somewhere like that. And it was Jordan and I, my younger brother, and so we went to go see the holiday lights and everything, and we came back, and it was like, because we always did Christmas at Mom and Dad's on Christmas Eve, and then we did Christmas Day over at my grandparents where all the family came. Mm-hmm. So Christmas Eve, like, Mom and Dad had a deal worked out with Santa where he would come to our place because he knew he knew that we would not be there because we were going to be at Grandma's. So he knew to come early for us. So he came early. We came back from Christmas lights, and oh my gosh, like everything was there. We had all this stuff, and I remember the like hockey sticks and bikes and toys. And, oh my gosh, it was
Heaven.
really, really cool. Yeah. So I remember that one, and then another thing, just every year, my dad was always so practical with his gifts, like, and I love him for it, and because that's just the way he thinks, and that's the way he is, and it's wonderful. But like we would get tools and like all this stuff, like
socks,
but like it would build on itself. We'd get like a toolbox, and then the next few years we'd get things to go in, like hammers and work belts, and like it was. So I loved that. I always loved my dad's gifts because as a kid, at least for me, I did not want a toolbox, but I have that to this day.
You do. That's
like,
true.
That toolbox.
He was thinking long term, wasn't he?
Yes, he wins in practicality and usefulness because I have it and I use all that stuff and it's great. So
yeah,
thank you, Dad. You're the best. Definitely not crazy,
that's awesome.
But those are memorable for me. So
yeah, well, those are good. Those are nice to hang on to.
Do we have any more questions? I got one. We can try and tackle it. This one, I don't know. This one's tough.
Okay,
it's super deep, and I think it was a ploy. Let's try it. Okay. How do you effectively reestablish resolve for morality when lines have been blurred and belief in the common good has diminished?
I'm gonna let you start off on that one.
Okay. How do I
need a minute
effectively reestablish resolve for morality when the lines have been blurred and belief in the common good has diminished? So the way I'm thinking of this is two people in strife, right? And there's just been so much turmoil, and the common good has diminished. So like we can't even come together on common ground for, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, family, where we kind of need to be together. Maybe there's a kid involved. Maybe it's parents involved. Maybe, I don't know, something like that where, you know what I mean? Like we can't just like go our separate ways forever.
Yeah. We're like almost connected by something.
Some reason we're tied together.
Yeah.
And there's so much strife. And so how do we just deal with each other and you've crossed lines. Both of you have said things that you should not have said.
Right.
Lines have been majorly crossed. And how do we effectively reestablish that? And for morality's sake, for the common good.
Right.
So how do we do that? You know, so, and then the question kind of still goes on, to put aside the notion to self-protect after you've been wounded and wronged deeply. So that's kind of leads me to believe kind of, you know, this person knows a lot about you. You know, it's kind of like some of the other questions. How do you guard yourself? So these people know the most about you and they have the most ammunition to wound you the deepest, right? That's the hard part about love is you're the most vulnerable and they have the most ability to hurt you the deepest. So that's been happened. Apparently you've been wronged. I'm sure there has been wrong going out. But if we've been deeply wounded, how do we reestablish that? Well, forgiveness. It's super easy, right? No, it's not.
No, no.
It sounds easy, right? 70 times 7. Turn the other cheek, all these things. They're extremely difficult, but very, very important. I mean, depending on whatever your religious framework is or your moral code, forgiveness should be a part of that. I don't care if you believe in God or not. Forgiveness should be a part of it. Like, because there's still a lot of scientific data and that shows how terrible it is for your body,
your own health,
and your own personal health, living in with unforgiveness. So one, hash that out. If it's within a spiritual religious framework, then do that. If it's not, I think counseling. If the other party is open to counseling, I think that would be a big benefit. Otherwise, be the bigger person, lead by example. Don't point fingers. Say sorry for what you did. Don't expect a sorry back. That's the hardest part.
Right.
Because a lot of times they won't. I know the couple instances that I can think of that I've dealt with this in my lifetime. They don't want to admit fault. Right? They didn't do anything wrong. You did. So I think just owning what you did and expecting, kind of like our vegan food thing, go with no expectations other than I apologize. And I understand that we need to come together on some sort of common good, or we need to come to terms of something, whether it's for mom's, grandparents' sake, or, you know, our elderly parents, or a child, or whatever it is. I think just hash it out. Probably bring in another party, a mediator.
That's what I'm thinking, like a mediator, therapist, somebody to kind of, it's going to have like a, you know, nothing vested in the relationship, you know?
And I think a lot of that goes a long way. Just, hey, I think that we should do this. I'll let you pick the mediator, or, you know, that way you don't say like, I'm bringing in my person, like, you know, just give them space. And I think that goes a long way. Give them time to see where you're coming from and to say, this is for everyone's good. This is, like you said, to effectively reestablish that. So I think that's some of the best things, like own what you did. Like the relationship did not get that way with just one party.
Right.
Generally. I mean, I understand that
can happen.
Probably can, but most likely doesn't. I mean, we're all human. We all make mistakes and get our feelings hurt, and then retaliate and revenge and all that, say things out of anger or whatever. So, I think wearing your heart on your sleeve, being open to being vulnerable again, that's really, really hard.
It is.
Because that's what you want to do. You want to protect.
You do.
Instantly. And I think being vulnerable to an extent, like allowing the limit, setting the limiter on the vulnerability. Just one to show that you're willing to get back in the game and trust, or at least establish some sort of trust. Or
yeah, those are really great.
Do you have anything?
Really great points. The thing that comes to me is kind of a little bit of what you said too about just, sometimes you have to be the one to be the initial trendsetter for something. And, you have to maybe sometimes be the one that does the hard thing and has to apologize, or have to just go in with, like you said, no expectations, of how they're going to respond, but just know you need to do X, Y, and Z for your own self-healing too.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, like understanding, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but you hit something huge, your own self-healing, and understand you are wounded in this,
right.
So you got to do a lot of self-healing too. So, be thoughtful on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I know, when I've been in relationships, just with family members, or even you and I going through something, it's like,
what?
Yeah, what? But when you've made the initial, when you've made the initial attempt to fix a wrong or something like that helps me be more open to the next time whatever happens, being able to be more okay, wow, I really did, mess that up. Let me. Because it's been modeled for me, I guess, is what I'm kind of saying here.
Excellent. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a heavy one. That was heavy, but it was good. I think that's great because,
a lot of people are thinking of this kind
a lot
of
of this
things.
stuff is coming into the holidays, and kind of what we led off with is, and what that one touched on too, is the people that we love the most can hurt us the deepest.
Yes.
Right? So with that, I think just going with some expectations of what you want to get out of this holiday season, out of your Christmas dinners, and, coming into the New Year's and everything. So one thing that we should kind of go into is don't wait, start now. Set expectations of what you think is going to be a perfect setting.
Yeah, create, and you and I were talking about this not long ago, is create the environment that you want. And so for me, we were talking about this, I love games. I love playing Jenga or playing X, Y, and whatever, just something to bring people together, for laughter. And so I think sometimes I forget myself, and you have the power to help change an environment by you just coming in, expecting, that, you're going to be joyful no matter what, and you're going to bring a little joy with you and a little piece of something you like. So guess what, everybody? We're playing Jenga tonight.
Yeah, and you know what? Instead of being the recluse and, I'm just going to be on my phone, and then everyone talks about you because you wouldn't interact and you were on your phone and you blah, blah, blah. It's let them be the one to walk away in negativity and carry the strife and be hurt and
bring the energy you want.
You bring all that good energy, and you just love on everybody. And you don't have to be over the top and fake to maybe the person, if that's the case for you guys, but it's okay. Love on everyone that you want to love on. And if they get their feelings hurt and if they want to walk around in that bitterness, don't wear it. Don't put that on.
I agree. I feel once I realize that I have the power to change the atmosphere of a room, it felt very freeing. Okay, if it feels really what in here, you can make a joke or you can fart blame.
Crop dust everybody.
No, but you know what? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You can really make a room a difference, and think about those people. And I think about it too. If I've been in an environment and it just feels really really, I don't know, strict or stuffy, and somebody comes in and it's just hey, da-da-da-da, and just acts real laid back, it's okay, I can breathe.
Yeah.
So I think
that's cool.
Yeah. Just remembering those things.
All right. We're getting a little long. We're doing well, but just kind of land this plane. Hopefully this hits everybody, on their drive to Christmas dinner, and you come in all super motivated, and to set the tone and fart blame everyone, and but no, we just thank everyone and for listening all the way to the end, and hope everyone has a wonderful, happy, Merry Christmas, and think of us. Pray for us. We're moving. We need all the help we can get. But yeah, enjoy your travels. Safe travels, everyone. and have a Merry Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas, everyone. Until next time.
Go forward in power,
love,
and a sound mind.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.